Hey guys, so I wanted to do a quick video for you all. I want to tell you about 5 comedies you should be watching on Netflix right now. Some of these you might have heard of, some of them you might not have. However, they are all funny in their own way. So let's get started with this, alright? Number 1, we're going to talk about Hot Fuzz. This is the second film in the Cornetto trilogy. And if you don't know what the Cornetto trilogy is, it's films directed by Edgar Wright and stars the dynamic duo of Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. The other 2 films in the trilogy are Shaun of the Dead and At World's End. Edgar Wright is a great director. I like to think of him of a silly British Quentin Tarantino almost. A very common theme in the Cornetto trilogy is that they like to take American genres and they like to make fun of them. In this film, they like to make fun of the buddy cop cliches, and they are awesome. So Simon Pegg is Sergeant Angel in Hot Fuzz, and he's a great cop. Actually, he's too good of a cop. The other cops in his precinct actually send him to a remote village because he keeps making them look bad. While he's there, he gets partnered with the doofus cop Danny Butterman. And Danny Butterman is played by Nick Frost. So Super Cop Sergeant Angel, who's used to bank robberies and car chases, gets placed on several cases that he finds beneath him, such as looking for a missing swan or stopping the kids from graffitiing. However, as the film moves along, Butterman and Angel start to notice that several people are dying from the bizarre and suspicious deaths. So, of course, they gotta look into it, and they delve deeper into a conspiracy. A fun thing about these deaths are that they're really gory, and they mock a lot of death scenes from other action films. The movie may take a little while to set the mood and get all the characters settings straight, but there are plenty of jokes during that time. However, once the mood is set, there is hilarity in the action scenes, and the action is over the top but a lot of fun. My favorite one is the Point Break one where he shoots up at the sky and he just starts shooting in the air, for no reason. If you love action and comedy movies, you'll love this. It has the best of both worlds. This also makes a great introduction to the Cornetto trilogy if you haven't seen any of the other films. The next film we're going to talk about is one of my favorites, and it might not be a comedy and you guys are going to kind of nitpick me for this, but it's Roadhouse. Yes, Roadhouse. Roadhouse is so much fun, you'll be laughing at how great it is. Roadhouse stars Patrick Swayze, Patrick Swayze's hair, and Patrick Swayze's muscles. They got all 3 for this film, and it works. The plot's simple enough. It's a badass outsider who comes in, works as a bouncer, beats up everyone in the club that likes to mess with him, then ends up getting involved with the kingpin, then takes the kingpin out and saves the day. I don't think I mentioned this yet. This movie also contains cheesy 80s dialogue at its finest, rolled up sleeves, and most of all, roundhouse kicks. This movie is so fun, there's so many drinking games for it, it's just great to see Patrick Swayze in his prime, and another reason why I recommended this is because they're actually doing a remake, and I hate remakes, but just because they actually have an interesting idea to bring a female lead in, and that's going to be Ronda Rousey, the UFC fighter who is also in the latest Expendables. Not only is she more than capable of action scenes, but she's actually a pretty great actress. Do yourself a favor and check out this 80s classic, Roadhouse. The next film on our comedies list is Wet Hot American Summer. This film is an homage and a parody of summer camp flicks, and it is really, really funny. The story's set in 1981 on the last day at camp, and we have a bunch of camp counselors and campmates there doing what they want to do most. Get laid, get drunk, and they have to do all these things before the coveted talent show happens. It's great to see a lot of big name actors in this film before anyone even knew who they were. We have Paul Rudd, we have Elizabeth Banks, Janeane Garofalo was the biggest star in this movie at the time. We have Christopher Maloney. It was really fun. The cast is fantastic, and it is an all-star cast before they were all-stars. This movie is dumb. So dumb. But it is extremely entertaining and hilarious, and that's why it's on this list. You just need to make sure that you check your brain out at the door and just go into this looking for jokes and laughing, because you will do a lot of that. Due to there are so many jokes in this film, some of them may fall flat, but there are way more that are really, really good. I actually put this on here too because there's a bonus watch to this. If you really like the film, Netflix just produced a season with 8 episodes, half-hour long each, and they are just as fun as the original. A really funny decision they made and a really interesting thing they did is that the original was shot 15 years ago before the series was produced. However, instead of doing it 10 years later or even just 5 years later, they're actually going back further in time and doing it the first day of camp. So now all these 30-year-olds who were playing 18-year-olds in this camp are now actually 45-year-olds playing 18-year-olds in camp. It's really, really, really dumb again, but it is so good. And I know I mentioned there's an all-star cast in the movie, and all of them are back. Every single one of them that were great in the movie are back for this series on Netflix. And what's great about this Netflix series is that they've even added more to the all-star cast. I'll just name some of the top talent they have for this series. They have John Hamm, they have Michael Cera, they have Jason Schwartzman, they have Jordan Peele from Key and Peele. You get the point. There's a lot of famous people in this. And one last thing to add to this is that all of them are acting against type, and it's really, really fun because it adds a lot to the absurdity of the show and the movie. The next comedy recommendation I have for you on Netflix is Goon. Now I know hockey season's coming up and this will definitely help you get in the mood and get in the right mindset. This film stars Sean William Scott as Doug Glatt, a simpleton who's really good at one thing, and that's fighting. Now before I go any further, a lot of you are probably like, Sean William Scott, I know that name. Who is that? It's Stifler from American Pie, okay? That is his name. You can call him Sean William Scott, that can be his nickname, but his real name is Stifler. Doug's really good at fighting, and this gets him placed on a minor league team as a goon. And for those of you who don't know what a goon is, this is basically the guy you send to protect your teammates. He's the one big bully. He beats up all the other guys, and he makes sure that your team's safe. And the best part about this is that Doug is not a mean person. He's a very sweet, caring person. It's really cool contrast to see. So as the story continues, he gets promoted to a better team. This ends up leading to him having to face off with a former NHL goon. This former NHL goon is known as Ross the Boss and is played by Lee Schreiber of Ray Donovan, and he does a caricature that is hilarious but also humanizing to the sport. It makes it seem like these guys are gladiators. Despite this movie being bathed in bloodshed and laughs, there is a true sense of love and innocence in this film as well. Goon is a movie that will take you by surprise due to its strong writing, hilarious acting, and how it takes a break from what sports movies usually focus on. Last but not least, our final comedy on Netflix that you should check out is Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. This is a horror comedy and it is gory and fun. In this horror comedy, the writing cleverly plays up the horror cliches to make for some hilarious situational and witty comedy. This includes partying teens, creepy cabins, and of course, loss of cell phone reception. This one has a simple plot as well. We have a group of college students who want to go out and party in the woods, and we have two guys who just bought a beautiful suburban cabin out in the creepy woods wherever they are. One of the girls gets knocked unconscious, and Dale and Tucker end up finding her and they take her back to their cabin to help take care of her. However, her friends don't see it as this way. The friends see it as they have to save their friend from these evil hillbillies in the creepy cabin in the woods, and it's all just a big misunderstanding from there. They're really just trying to help this girl, but it's really funny to see them thinking that there's some horrible serial killers. And not to be off-putting, but they look pretty disgusting in this in a good way. Tucker is played by Alan Tudyk of Firefly, and Dale is played by Tyler Labine. Because the chemistry is so great between these two leads, they really help the audience engage in the comedy. They're a true great comedic duo. Overall, this movie is a very fun and inventive horror spoof and has great characterizations of the two leads. This is basically Dumb and Dumber meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Just like I said with Hot Fuzz, if you love horror movies and comedy, you're gonna love this. Alright guys, as always, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you've seen any of these films, and I'd also love to hear your thoughts if you have any recommendations of your own of great comedies. Thanks guys!